Good evening, everyone. It actually worked tonight for a change. I'm quite grateful for that. Can everyone just confirm that they can hear me okay? How we doing, Lee? New Yoda, Catherine? Oh, thank you very much, Catherine. That's really nice of you. Hi, Botanic. How you doing? I'm very good. Thank you. Just wait for a few others to join. How you doing, Richard? Hi, Michael. Cool stuff. Kirsty, how we doing? Hi, Gillian. How we doing, Lee? Keysman, evening. Glad you could join me, buddy. Right, a minute, that's quite a few, isn't it? How are we all doing then, people? So apologies, this is late, this live stream. It should have been last Thursday. Just trying to get everything fitted in. It's been quite difficult. Like, I had a busy week last week. I had a couple of personal matters to sort out. Like, so apologies for that. But back to normal this week, at least for the next couple of days anyway. I done that video today. It was quite infuriating, that video, actually, and I'd like to start on that. How we doing, Mo? With the DWP, I mean, that article is absolutely infuriating. How we doing, Big Nuts? Mama's life. I mean, for those people to actually call people criminals and raise the proceeds of crime act is just, words don't begin to even explain how bloody cheeky that is, honestly. But yet we can't even report them anywhere. I mean, like I said in the video, I lost sleep the other night there over it, just wondering that what you could do, because it just felt like, well, it's obviously raised a bit of awareness, but that's all it's done, really. What we need to do is to get things moving to try and change it, because, and it's, listen, I'll be honest, I've not got all the answers. It's not exactly staring me in the face. Which is why we need to sort of put our heads together. How we doing, Jaden? Hey, Lee. Aye, so it really is infuriating. And you look at the hate crime law and all. I mean, that's enough to drive you mad as well. And this, what was it? They had something like 2,000 calls on the first day or something. And I'm sorry, like, but if you're phoning up that line to report someone because they've said something like, men and women are biologically different, then I'm sorry, you're a coward. Like, yeah, Mo, absolutely it was. Happy slower cliffs, Devon. No surprise that it's absolutely pissing with rain and the clouds are out. It's these events, you never get to see them. How we doing, Reese's? Yeah, so I mean, it's if you're actually phoning up a line to get someone charged and brought into court because they've expressed an opinion, then I'll say it again, you're a coward, and that's the growing up that I've spoken about before that we all need to do. And I'm not perfect. I had to do things like that. There was things I was kind of spoiled as a child growing up, which doesn't serve you in your adulthood. Absolutely, it does not. But that's what a lot of these people seem to be. They just seem to be spoiled children that, oh, I don't want to hear it, so I'm going to try and get you charged. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then you look at the people that's actually behind these laws and advocating these laws, people like that Siobhan Brown. I mean, I don't like to judge anyone on looks, but she doesn't look like a very nice bloody lady at all. And when you hear her talk, she just comes across as a person that only cares about herself and her own advancement. And you know, obviously, from the videos that I've had my problems with people like that my whole life, to be honest with you. I never used to understand it, but I do now. And I feel that the only thing that we can do is grow up. And when we grow up, those hate crime laws would need to be done away with, because no grown up person would phone it up. They just wouldn't do it. I disagree with you, mate. I think you're talking shite. Let's move on. And that's how it goes. How we doing, Eden? Eden. Yeah, so it's just it's some weeks are better than others. Like, I mean, some weeks you feel it, and then this Horizon scandal as well, man. I mean, geez, they actually. I mean, it's not surprising, is it, that they actually knew that what was going on with it, and that it was all lies, and what these numbers that were getting reported onto accounts were fraudulent, and it was the system that was doing it. It was bugs. And yet they let people go through that. People have committed suicide because of that. And how many people have committed suicide because of the benefit system? I'm getting a lot of comments on that. The elderly lady that I'd spoken of that had said to me that she was thankful for her housing partnership because they were running her to the food bank. I mean, I think that's when you put that into perspective. I mean, that does that not describe our times and the kind of world that we're living in and where they want to take us? I think it does. Like, it's just my heart nearly broke that day. I'll never ever forget that lady. And I said to her, I said, you make sure you get your money back, like, because one of them owes you money, and you'll be able to live a comfortable life, which is the opposite to what she was living at the time. And for her to say, but she showed gratitude. She had nothing, and she was working as well, and she showed gratitude at the fact that these people were taking her to the food bank. And that is our essence. That's who we truly are. And that's what we need to get back to. That's the unconditional love we need to get back to. Because even after I'd told her that she was being ripped off, basically, that she still didn't get angry or anything. She obviously got happy because she thought, geez, I'm able to go and start living my life. And I'd said to her, I says, look, it's not me that's putting the money in the bank, so I can't say exactly what you're going to get and when you're going to get it. But from what I can tell, someone owes you a lot of money, because this money is on you. It's the money was going to our landlord directly, and she'd set up this direct debit. So I think it was probably the landlord that was liable for the payback. So obviously you don't get to speak to these people again. So you don't know how it goes, but you would like to think you've given enough advice, because at the end of the day, it was the housing partnership, and I contacted the actual case manager to say, look, there's something that's gone seriously wrong here, and this lady needs help. So you need to confirm that the money has left the government's bank account, and they've actually received that money, because if they have, it means this woman's owed a lot of money. And it was like I say, it was 5 figures. Like, it was a lot of money. And I've spoken to other people that have contacted me recently that have received a lot of money back for housing as well. And it just shows you. And then you look at the state of the place. It's no surprise that they say the councils are skint like. And I mean, how can they be skint? I just don't understand that. I don't get that. How can they be skint when they send all this aid and they've got hotel rooms filled with illegal immigrants? And people say, well, that's why they're skint. But why are we allowing that? Why are we still considering voting for these people? Why do people still insist on it when this is what's going down? I don't understand it. Like, I've never understood it. I remember when I was 16 and I used to work with this brickie, and he was going on about politics and stuff, and I never knew anything then, and I'll never forget it. I sat there and I just going on about the politics and the way it worked with Labour and Conservative and the rest of it. And I actually turned and said to him, I says, look, I don't know anything about any of this stuff, but something does not feel right to me about any of it. There's something wrong with all of it. And it's amazing how somewhere deep down within you knows that. You don't know why. You just know it. And then all these years later, it confirms it. Not only is it true, it's actually the information on it to prove that it's true is so overwhelming, you'll probably not read it all in a lifetime. That's how much has been hidden, as I've said before. Hi, Karen. Yeah, you can message you, of course you can, Karen. Just go to my email address or my channel description and email me. You'll find my email in there. I need to go on there anyway because I've got a subscriber who's wanting to book a call, so I just replied to her comment there, so I'll need to sort that out after I come off the live anyway. So if you send it, if you could send it now, that would be good, because then it'll be there for me as soon as I get off and I can reply straight away. So yeah, no problem. Yeah, Botanic, it's Botanic saying it hot or hard, that talking about the women in the food bank. I mean, it's absolutely horrifying that. I mean, I just couldn't believe it at the time, like, because I thought, why would a housing partnership? Surely if they were getting it twice, they would say, look, you need to cancel this. They've continued to take it, and that's the heartbreaking thing about it. And this is the thing. Humanity is generally good, and that proves it, because this woman just thought, well, this is the way it is. That I have to pay my rent, not knowing that it was actually getting paid, because she's unable to check, or she wasn't computer literate So this is why she couldn't check, and this is why you need to rely on the people that's on the phone to sort of point these things out, which we obviously know we can't do. And it's even less so now, as I've explained in the video. Some of the people that are on those lines are just, it's just, they shouldn't be there. It's as simple as that. You're very welcome, Karen. Yeah, we do. New Yoda, we saying we need better systems. We do. And there is better systems. There is. And this is the thing. Money is a program just like anything else. It's almost got like it's like black magic. Like it's weird because everyone thinks that we need to have this bit of paper in our pocket, and if we've not got it, and if you say to people we're going to take that away, and the amount of people that said to me, "You're talking about communism," it's like, no, communism's still based on monetary, because they still hoard the wealth, but there's other systems out there like the Ubuntu movement I've explained, or I didn't explain it like, but I'd mentioned that. That's another way. But I mean, we're geniuses waiting to happen. We could set something else up. I mean, like companies that it's well known and well documented that things are not built to last. If we started building things to last again, we could put our time into and resources into so much more. But because there's these fabricated bloody companies that make these shite products that just break, and then it's just looking for the next one, and it goes round and round, and it's just a total waste of time. It really is. And once we take all that nonsense out of things, I think we would get on better. But we need to do that just now or try and do it because of the way things are set up. It's not even a capitalist system; it's cartelism now because it's just rich and poor. That's all it is. Thank you very much, Aidan. So yeah, that's where we're at. That is where we're at with it. And then you've got people that are bringing in hate laws, trying to bloody silence you so you can't say these opinions in case someone in the room is offended by it and they want to phone up and get you charged for it. I mean, seriously, how anyone could sit at home knowing that all they've done is offend you through an opinion that's not really hateful, but because you've felt hurt by it, because the truth does hurt, that you've got a person up in court, it could be loss of earnings. I mean, sitting in courtrooms, they're horrible places to be. Every time I've been in one, I'm sure you'll all agree. If anyone that's been in one, even if you're there as a witness, your stomach's in knots. They're just not nice places to be. And how could you put someone through that through an opinion? And I'll tell you something at the now. I mean, there's got to be a way you can turn it around, because you could be able to say, well, I feel hated that I'm not allowed to say an opinion that's just challenged the belief system and nothing more. So it's concerning, because the fact that it's been introduced is enough. That's enough. And they'll tailor it and people will get used to it, as long as it'll may take years and years and years, but as long as it's there, it's a problem. And it's a threat to democracy and free speech. Thank you very much, Steve. I really appreciate that. So yeah, it's just devastating. And then like the Horizon scandal as well. I mean, that really put it into perspective for a lot of people who were maybe not into what they call conspiracy theory. That's just like my papa used to say, it's just people havering in their bedrooms and their living rooms. No, mate, it's not. It's yes, there's people do that, of course there is, but it's not just that. But those types of people, and if my papa was still here when that had happened and when it was on the news, then I'm sure it would have made him look at it differently as well, because it's when you look at that. I watched that little kind of. Oh, I didn't watch it all. I only watched like the first episode. But what you'd seen from it was that they were basically told to lie to their postmasters with regards to that they were committing fraud. Really, I mean, that's got to be a jail sentence in itself. That lady, is it Paula Venels? You call her? Her name? I think that's her name. She needs to go to prison. Like, she definitely does, especially the fact that she's lied to Parliament. Hi, Snafu. Thank you very much, Jaden. That's really nice of you. Hi, Vanda. Hi, Paranormal. Yeah, so I don't know where we go from here, everyone. I really don't. All we can do is just, and I said this the other day there to someone, is we just need to keep on going. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. The people that are already going need to keep going, and the people that are not going need to get going. And there's still a lot of people that think that this is just a load of nonsense, and it's just for entertainment purposes. What people watching these videos, and it's not. And I know there's probably a lot more people doing it than you know, because it's not an easy thing to break out of peer pressure, like. And I know there'll be a lot of people doing it in secret. I myself came right out with it when I started looking at it, but not everyone's like me. So, but yeah, there's still, and I might be judging it from the area I'm in, and there's still far too many people that don't want to know, and they just think that if they close their ears, that it's all going to be fine, and someone else will deal with it, and that's not the way it is. No one's going to do it for them. No one's going to do it for us. And if you don't start rising with these frequencies, because that's what it is, then you're going to go the other way. I believe that's why a lot of mental health problems are being caused, because people are trying to hold on to the old ways, and it's just not working for them. It's like, go with the flow, man. Go with the flow and rise with the frequencies. And I'm telling you, your life will change. It absolutely will. And I don't know, man. It's some people cut their nose off to spite their face, though, don't they? Yeah, KB, hate crime is divide and rule. Absolutely, it is. That's exactly what it is. It's to silence us. It's so that even when you're sitting at a dinner table, you're going to be wondering, thinking about your opinion and whether to say it or not. I mean, I spent years doing that in people's living rooms, like sort of thinking and before I'd spoken, and like really thinking about it. I know it's always good to do that, but well, I better not say this and I better not say that. And I can tell you, I'm not going back there. Like, no chance. Absolutely not. It's no good. No good at all. Yeah, Dean's saying how mad it is that you still see people muzzled. And yeah, I mean, I said last week that at this point I do feel sorry for them. And someone had commented to say thanks for feeling sorry because I've got for me because I've got health conditions. And I mean, I didn't reply, like, but what I would say to anyone that's got health conditions, I wouldn't be wearing masks, because they don't stop viral particles. They don't. And they actually make your health, like, so what you'll do is you'll start to recycle your CO2, and that, if you do that enough, it can cause hypoxia, which is cancerous. So I would, you need fresh air. Yeah, New Yoda, safe, self-maintaining and self-healing. Absolutely. And once we do that on an individual level, individually take responsibility, it really is this simple. It'll all come together. It really will. The answers will come out of it. There's no doubt about that. Of that, I have no doubt. It certainly answered a lot of questions in my life, and everyone's part of the same one energy. It's just we're all unique in our own way, like, and we need to start expressing that. And the more we express it, and the more we respect others' expression of it, this we will start to we'll start to thrive and prosper. Absolutely, Alexander. That's saying we need to rise the vibrations and the frequencies, because that's, I mean, even mainstream science is saying that things are changing. So things are drastically changing. There's no doubt about it. I mean, this is it's a period of turmoil, because the breakdowns are always they're always difficult. But it needs to break down so that you can rebuild. That's the only way. You can't build on top of the old foundations, if you like. They need to be redone. And it's the best thing, frankly, because you build back stronger. But see, what the World Economic Forum, they're selling it to you is it's like they're just causing all this chaos so that we'll consent. They'll manufacture our consent to their great reset, their build back better. But we don't need them to build back better, because they build back better for themselves, which is not good for us. Yeah, I mean, there's too many sheep, absolutely. Too many sleeping clowns. I mean, Jamie as well. I mean, it is. It's quite strong, that, but it is. I mean, I wouldn't say that to everyone, because there's some of them just are sort of like concentrated on life, but it's the ones that get nasty about it, and they start sort of giving you really nasty ridicule about your opinions. Those ones, I would say, are clowns, because they're laughing at you and the joke's actually on them. Aiden's asking what would they do if he's UC caseworker if they're bullying me? Well, like I've been saying, Aiden, and I'm sorry this is happening to you, and some of them are terrible, they really are. All you can do is to send a email, and actually I just remembered there, I was thinking earlier on there was a link I needed to post in that video and I couldn't remember what it was. It's that email address, so I'll get that put into the video at some point tonight, and just start off the complaint and detail your experience. It's really all you can do. You'll get a phone call back and they'll discuss it with you. And if you're not happy, once it's closed down, when they close it down at the end, if you're not happy with the outcome, you can then go to the independent case examiner, which is through the government website. You'll find the details for that on there. Expats saying, don't let them live rent-free in your head. Absolutely, don't let anyone live rent-free in your head. Just remember that in your heads, that's the chatter in there. It's the heart we need to start living through. Hi, El, how you doing? Yeah, Jamie's saying the French stood up to pension age, and we sit and do nothing, and that's absolutely true. Although there's a lot of farmers protesting as well, and that's absolutely brilliant to see, because farmers, I mean, we need farmers, like we need them or we don't have food. It's just it's plain and simple, and they're sanctioning and trying to shut that down, which is unforgivable, and only a cult such as them would do such a thing to try and control food, because food is something that absolutely every single person needs, and if they can control that, then they've got control of pretty much everything else then, because you need food for energy, like. And I mean, to shut that down and to start sanctioning the countries that produce and export the most farming agricultural goods is just how anyone can still sit back in the armchair after seeing such a thing absolutely boggles the mind, but some people still do. How we doing, Jimbo? All good, thank you, sir. How's yourself? Nick on saying he's gone back again to watch David Icke. I mean, honest to God, right? This guy he's been laughed at and ridiculed, and I'd said to a few people, like when I've done the first video and I started getting all those hits and everyone was commenting with their lovely comments and their support, and it was over 90%, in fact, 98%, very, 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 very few compared with how many comments it got with regards to negativity and trolling. And every time, not every time, but a lot of the time I was thinking, imagine what he must have went through back in 1990 and 1991 when everyone was against him. He was on the screens when everyone was watching TV, or most people were watching TV, and he couldn't walk down the street. Imagine what his family must have went through. He couldn't go to any pubs or anything like that. It was just, his life was almost ruined, like, and he'd done it to tell the truth. And yet people still call him a shill, and the ones that do, they don't produce any evidence as to why that is, other than his postcode, which I'm afraid is no evidence. It's just a postcode. But when you read his books, I've just read another one. I read The Biggest Secret again. It was actually, that's what I'm saying, I got really back into reading, and I read it within about 4 days. And it is an absolutely fantastic book. It is amazing. It's still relevant today. It really is. It's such an educational book. It's unbelievable. And the accuracy of them, 20, 25 years in advance. And I've disagreed with him in a lot of things. And one of the things that and he ends up proving you wrong, like, but there was one in particular where I can't remember what book I read it in, but he'd spoken of one way they were going to reassert further control or increase their control was by to get people microchipped, and mandatory vaccinations would be either by a fake alien invasion using Project Bluebeam, or a pandemic, and it could be real or fake. And I thought to myself, well, and I remember thinking at the time, how can they do a fake pandemic? Surely if it was fake, no one would be dying. People would see no one were dying. It would just be, the game would be up. In fact, the game wouldn't even start. And yet, I mean, how wrong could I have been to think that? Because that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what they done. And they succeeded for a period of time anyway. And that's just one example of the many. Speaking about transgenderism, and I read a passage out on one of the videos from The Biggest Secret, and when he was talking about a global, we'd all be microchipped and connected to a global computer of some kind, and I mean, if you'd said that in the 1990s, people would have looked at you like you were crazy, and you can understand why people did. But yet, we look at the world now, and people understand how that's possible now, because that's what they're trying to do, because he was right about that. And honestly, if you've got the time, and I've speaking to a friend of mine about this, like, and we've not all got the time for it. I was lucky because obviously I've not got the same responsibilities, but even if you can put in 15, 20 pages a day, which would take you maybe 45 minutes, an hour, that you would still read a large portion of books over the course of the year, if you were to do that. It's because the magic's in the consistency. It doesn't matter what you do, as long as you do it every day, even if it's just a small amount. The magic comes from the consistency, and that's a fact. That I know that for a fact. So that's what I would encourage people to do, and it is very, very hard to get into reading. I just spent a couple of months there trying to get back into it. I read a few. I was like, I'm not ready for it yet. I'm not ready for it yet, and eventually it just sticks. And boom, I can't stop reading. I've not had a chance today, but it's weird. Someone had commented a couple of weeks ago on one of these lives to say you should read the book Who Built the Moon, and it's actually the one I'm reading just now, and I'm quarter of the way through that. I only started reading it last night, so I might do a video on it because it's fascinating. It really is. The anomalies with the moon's it's ridiculous. I mean, it shouldn't actually be there. It should not be in our sky. A planet, a body that size, a satellite that size for the size of Earth, it can't be natural. The physics of it just do not work out. It doesn't stand up to reason. It just doesn't. And yet that's the official story that they've put on everybody with it. And when you look at the numbers behind it, and it's just it takes, if you say it's coincidence, I mean, the people say that it's coincidence, ridicule people for saying that everything's a conspiracy, but everything they say is a coincidence. I mean, that's why we have these sort of solar eclipses, because the moon is in exactly the position that it needs to be, so that it covers the sun, even though there's 400 moons within the sun. And it's just landed there by accident. Yeah, of course it has, mate. It's some bloody story. It really is. I mean, what we don't know fills books, like, and people need to start reading about it. They really do. And if something doesn't feel right, you move on to the next thing. That's what I'll say. Because when you first start reading things that it could have been put there, it's like, well, who's got the ability to put something that size there? But you've got to remember, there's races out there that have got technology that's 4,000 and 5,000, even more. It's not even comparable, actually, in regards to time and how far they are ahead with their technology. But it's not even out there. It's here. They've got it here. We've had it here for a very long time. It's just, like I say, what there is to know is just unreal. And notice how you end up. I can't even remember how I got onto this, but you end up going down all these wee different avenues, because everything connects to everything else. And it's amazing. You can start talking about one subject, and then 10, 15 minutes into talking about that, you're on something completely different. I mean, like I say, I can't even remember what started that off, but you end up talking about the moon being put there by aliens. It's crazy. Like, it's mad how you end up into these wee avenues. But I mean, I could sit and speak for hours. Like, I used to be able, well, I probably still could, but it's hard to transfer it for, like, when you're sitting on your own or with a couple of friends or family or something, and you're talking, and then you're sitting on a live. But I'm starting to get used to it now. It's starting to come out a wee bit better now, and it does feel like I am just sitting here with people, like maybe family members or something like that, and it does feel that relaxing. So, I mean, maybe I'll start doing lives more often. I don't know. It's just getting the time. And I always wanted to say, I've always said I'd rather have quality than quantity. Like, because I know there's, like I said today, there's people out there that they go live every day and for 3 hours, and it's like, I don't think I'm that interesting. Like, I don't think people would want to sit and listen to me ramble in my living room for 3 hours every single day of the week. I mean, I wouldn't sit and listen to somebody do that. So I'm not going to ask somebody to do it to me, and there's just no way I would find the time to do it. But yeah, I think it's better just to keep it sort of once a week. It keeps it more engaging. Thank you very much, Mo. I really appreciate that. Yeah, Diogenes is saying they're trying to shut it down so they can orchestrate famines. Absolutely. I mean, that's even the Irish famine. They say that didn't need to happen, but it did. Africa could feed the world, and yet look at the food problems it's had. It's with starvation over the decades. Well, certainly the decades since I've been alive. Mr. Dark Raver saying we need to stand together. Absolutely, we do. I mean, this is the thing he's saying about internet and social media. We need to use the tools, and we do. I mean, the internet can be a double-edged sword, but it's still double-edged. We have to remember we can still use it for good. And I've said it many times. Everyone has something to offer. You just need to spend a wee bit of time on yourself and on your own as much as you can to find out who you are and what it is you're good at, and then you'll be able to offer it. Because this is the problem we've got, is we're trying. When you say that everyone's got something to offer, and people say, "Well, the position I'm in now, I've got nothing to offer." What is that? I don't know what that is. So if you don't know what it is, you can't offer it. So you need to go and find out what it is. And you'll only do that by getting to know yourself. And again, I'm living proof that that's true. And that's what I was going to say about David Icke's books. Everything that he said in those books was the reason that I changed my thinking. It was him that got me to believe that you're not a failure just because you've failed and you've maybe done things that you're not proud of. And you're actually part of something bigger, and that you can tap into that if you become a better person and open your heart and your mind. And that's exactly what I done. And like he says, it done exactly what it said in the tin. And it did. It done exactly what it said in the tin. And I'm living proof of that. And I say it all the time, I really do. And people, you can't look at other people and think he's better than me or she's better than me, because they're not. They're maybe better at what they're doing than where you're at, but that doesn't make them better. You just need to even the score by becoming better yourself, and they might look across at you. In fact, they're more than likely that they will. Snafu saying they're after bloodlines. Absolutely, that's what there is. This is what it is. It's all about, they're obsessed with bloodlines, these people. I mean, look at Burke's Peerage. Everything that's been in David Icke's books, again, and I've read other books about it as well, but these bloodlines, and it's true. It's in Burke's Peerage. How we doing, Dunk? Good to see you as well, mate. Hi, Apache. How you doing? Yes, Snafu's saying there's more illnesses, cancers here in the UK, and it'll get worse. I mean, there's apparently 100 years ago, a lot of these diseases we've got now did not exist, and it's due to all the shite that's in the food, processed food, and all the stuff that's in sweeties. And I myself, I still like a sweetie now and again, but I'm going to have to stop it because they're not good for you. Yeah, Mo's saying beam me up. Absolutely. Only when I'm done, though. Only when I'm done. I'm not leaving prematurely, because, I mean, this planet's, they're looking to put it under more chains, and I'm sorry, but I've got nephews who I love dearly, and I want them to have a decent childhood and adulthood along with everyone else's kids. So we need to do something about it, and thankfully that many people are up for it. It's just, we still need more people to wake up. There's not enough people that's woken up. Well, I mean, like I say, I don't know how many people are actually looking into this stuff. You just don't know that. But there's not enough action in Britain compared to what there's been in places like France. I mean, the mainstream media, for obvious reasons, don't show it here. There is things kicking off in France. I mean, they're just not putting up with it. And they've always had this moniker of being sort of chicken outs and chicken shits, as they've been called over the years, and cowards, because of what happened during World War II when they surrendered to the Nazis. When they stormed in, they just gave up. But you can't say that about them now, because they've rendered that, they've put that right, because they are standing up to their government. Some of the videos are quite violent, which I don't condone, but I do understand when you see what's happening to them. And some of these states of emergencies that they've got in place, they're just ridiculous. I mean, all they need to do is declare a state of emergency, and they can start coming taking what you own. It's just a total tyranny, but it's a hidden tyranny, and that's the problem with it. A hidden tyranny is harder to get rid of, because the people that are under it usually think they're free, which is exactly what we do. And people think that because they can go outside and go to the pub and go to work and we're free, but that's not free. So slavery works much better when you don't tell them, and that's not telling them. And this is why the Nazis didn't succeed. They were never meant to, because the Nazis is an overt control system. You know it's a control system. You can see what it is. It's got a finite life. It might take 400 or 4,000 years, but it will it'll dismantle, like, because the human spirit always rises up to dismantle it. Whereas if you sort of take it covertly and underground and just do it in secret, then people will not rebel against that because they don't think there's anything to rebel against. So they just leave it and they just think, well, I'm free. I don't need to do anything. I've got my Netflix, I've got my internet, my job, my car, and that's all I need. My wife and kids, whatever, my holidays. Let's move on. But the Nazis, and that's another reason for them losing the war, because everybody thinks, well, they can't be fascists because they fought the fascists during World War II and beat them. But like I've said many times, the Nazis didn't lose the Second World War, the Germans did, and everyone should look into Operation Paperclip, and you'll see that to be a fact. And the Nazi ideology, it survived and it started to permeate the American government, the administrations of the future American presidents. And that's a fact. I mean, there was Alan Dulles. He was head of the CIA. He was a known Nazi. People like Henry Ford, they supported Nazism. So did Walt Disney. So there's a lot of support for it out there. There's a lot of belief in that ideology. And TPG media, it's all by design, and and he's saying that people brush it off like it's nothing, and they do, and we need to stop doing that. Like, we need to stop saying, well, it's nothing to do with me, because that's not true. It's everything to do with you. It's everything to do with all us, because they've needed our consent to do it. I mean, you might have been sitting watching TV or going on holiday or playing football, whatever the case may be, but you still contributed to it because you didn't open your mind. You consented and acquiesced to what was going on around you. And I actually had this out with a relative of mine once when they accused me of, well, it's your fault. Basically, it was my fault because I didn't vote, and it was my fault that the Tories were in. And I was like, but you can't complain either. It's you that can't complain because you're voting for a system that you know is corrupt. You know they start illegal wars and kill innocent people. You know they abuse children and they cover it up. You know all this stuff's true. And you know the politicians are lying. They're only saying that to get your vote. And then after it, that's it. They go against everything that they've said. And yet you continue to go back to the bloody polling station every time they come out with their banners and their campaign flags. And you're saying it's my fault. It's like, no, dear, it's not. It's your consenting, you're acquiescing to a society that you know allows corruption. So that's you. We're involved in that. That's when you're doing that, you're involved in it. And this is the thing. Look at Nazi Germany as a perfect example. Look at the people in Nazi Germany. They acquiesced to it, and a lot of people will maybe say, "Oh, we didn't know what was going on," but they knew exactly what was going on because the rumours were there, and the rumours that turned out to be true. And it baffled me up until I done that job at the call centre. How it happened, why so many people could turn a blind eye to such a thing. But yeah, like I say, I understood it after doing the calls because so many people can turn a blind eye to it. Like there was the guy I was saying that to when I'd watched Schindler's List and I couldn't understand it, and then I'd understood how they could turn a blind eye after doing his job. He changed the subject so bloody quick, you would have thought I was accusing him of being a Nazi. Snafu's saying full blown AI here, and it is. And as I said in the video about the Fear Farm, AI is actually their god, which is why it permeates this society. Not the AI that we use. It's there's a hierarchy, as with everything they do. KB saying Event 2.1, the planned certificate of vaccination. Yeah, and that's true as well. I mean, COVID actually stands for certification of vaccine identification. That's what it stands for. I've asked many people, do you think that's a coincidence? I've not had an answer yet. Sorry, I better start getting down some of these comments. How we doing, Department of Stealth? Thank you for joining us. Yeah, Botanic Magic saying Jordan Maxwell. Jordan Maxwell is absolutely amazing. Honestly, if you want to learn about the origin of words and the etymology of words, then I would go to, or the etymology of words, I would go to him. He's absolutely amazing. I could listen to him for hours on it, and I have done. It just blows your mind that the words that we use every single day is just like with regards to in relation to water, in relation to sort of British Admiralty law, which is the law of the sea. And then you look at like when you're in court, you're in hot water, you're in the dock, you get bail, or you buy like you can go to a car sale and buy a fleet of cars. And then you've got like dictatorship, kingship, citizenship, receivership, and it's right out through society. Like it's absolutely amazing. Like it really is. And like we are 70% water or 90% water, whatever it is, and we come down the birth canal. It's absolutely crazy. It really is. And then you've got like the bank that dictates the flow of the currency. The currency. It's all related to water. There's an episode on Richie Allen, on the Richie Allen show, Jordan Maxwell and the amazing hidden meaning of words. I think it's only on for about an hour and a half. But honestly, he talks about the ones that I've just said there, and he goes into it a lot more. I always forget a lot of them until I listen to it again, but there's loads of them. I mean, that was just a very, very brief example of some of the things he talks about, and it's definitely worth watching because it starts to open your mind to see that everything, this society that we use, and like that we use, all these words and the law and the courts, it's all very, very old and very ancient, and we do not understand it one bloody bit, and it's used against us daily. Hi, Tech Junkie. How you doing? Thank you very much for joining. I'm all good, sir. Standalone's asking to talk about geoengineering. Well, and he's right about that. I mean, geoengineering. Someone once said to me that that was the one thing that they didn't, but that they couldn't believe, they couldn't buy that was true. And it's like it's the most obvious. I mean, you look at the skies here, and it's absolutely plastered. And contrails, which is just water vapor, they disappear within minutes. That's what comes out conventional planes. But these things leave trails. I've seen some. I mean, you look at the sky at night after it as well. Some of the colours are just ridiculous. It's nice to look at, but it's not good for your bloody health. And what they're doing is, it's apparently it relates to the HARP technology. The It bounces radio waves, or extremely low radio waves, off the ionosphere, and it punches these holes. It must send these low frequencies through these holes, and then because the atmosphere's lit up, well, it's a conductor because of this stuff that's been sprayed at the planes, like aluminium and whatever else shite they put into it, and that creates the conductivity, or it heightens it, and it obviously it makes the use of the technology a lot more potent. And I mean, look at the weather. The weather's absolutely, it's like autumn here now. And the wind, I nearly got blew off my bloody blew my arse the other day there because of the weather. It was unreal, honestly. And this is support. I mean, usually April, you sort of getting decent weather, and there's decent weather behind that. It's just with the wind, it's absolutely bloody freezing. It's like I say, it's like autumn. And then some of the summers we've had recently have been absolutely shite. They can just, I mean, they can actually, all weather is an energy field, and they know how to manipulate it. They can move it back and forth. They can move clouds to wherever they want. They can, and it was supposed to be created for good, so that they could create rain where there was maybe droughts. And if you think it like that, it can be very, very handy. But they don't use it for that. They use it as a weapon of war. So apparently there's 13 of them. These HARP stations are situated all over the world. I think one's in Alaska. I've heard there's one in Denmark. I can't remember. I used to have the list. I can't remember where the rest ones are. That's the only two I can remember. Snafu saying it to stay away from all sugar. I would second that. I need to do that myself. I'm still eating sweeties like it's bad. I still don't eat at night though. Standalone saying our children will be living in absolute hell if we don't stand tall in it. He's right. And it's going to be like 1984. It's going to be worse than 1984. Yeah, Jimbo's saying he thinks we all suffer from what the Germans call, what's that, Weltschmerz. I've never heard that before, but it means worldly sadness. And I think you're right about that, mate, because, and it's sad, it really does. It breaks my heart to see it. Some of the people I see that, and I watch people like, I've watched them my whole life, and you see things like, when I think back to maybe 4 or 5 years ago, the same people their their expressions change. And it's because they don't know what's going on in the world. They don't seem to be very happy. They're not laughing as much, and I see that with people that I even don't know. You look at them, and you just think you look very unhappy. And I know we all have bad days, of course we do, but it just seems to be constant, and it's just like I don't know, man. It just when you used to kind of walk by in shops and stuff, you would hear people talking about what you're doing at the weekend, and it would be upbeat. You just don't. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but you don't seem to hear that much now, and it's obviously because of what's going on. But that's why we need to raise awareness, because people think that if they start facing these things, it's going to get worse. It's going to make them feel worse, but it doesn't. It actually makes you feel better, because you think to yourself, well, look at the example of my videos. The amount of people that said to me, "Thank you, Alan, because if I thought it was me that was going crazy, I now feel better." Well, that would happen on a bigger scale with the world, because you look at it, and you think, "Geez, it's not me that's crazy. It's them that's crazy." And actually, we can do something about this. We've been hoodwinked. That's a game changer for everyone's mood. That would, and when the more people that do it, the higher the morale will get. ADBC saying the DVLA is terrible as well. People getting abuse, especially disabled people, absolutely. And they must be psychologically profiling a lot of people to do these bloody jobs, because there's no decent person I would know would be able to do that and go home at night and still look at their wife and kids or their family with a smile on their face. I'm sorry, they just wouldn't. Yeah, Diogenes. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Everybody lost in World War Two. The only ones that didn't seem to lose were the dark forces, because they got everything that they planned for came out of it. And it's the occult, Lee. You're absolutely right. And we need to start understanding the occult. And a lot of people think occult means Satan, but it doesn't. It simply means hidden. That's actually what it means. So we're dealing with a lot of occult knowledge. Doesn't mean it's negative. It just means it's hidden, and we need to bring it to the forefront. Carlman saying fraud's a slap on the wrist nowadays. Victimless crime, supposedly. Yeah, well, not during, not when it's going through universal credit the way it isn't. And that's sort of the reason why I kicked up with this, because I seen something the other day there that, I mean, not that it would have bothered me, but it was for all these trolls out there that were saying, "Oh, well, you've broken the official secrets and the contract of that act, and you're going to get hanged, you're going to get jailed." And see, this is the thing: when it comes to whistleblowing, if that is indeed what I am, then when you're reporting fraud, you're protected. CV saying that Mark Twain, with the Mark Twain quote, if voting made any difference, they wouldn't let us do it, and that's absolutely true. Hi Don, how you doing? Yeah, Lee's saying he's never voted and never will. They all work for the same team. They do. It's a one-party state, mate, and that's more obvious now than it's ever been. Or sometimes I sit and think about that. Is it more obvious now, or is it just that it's always been run this way? It's just that we were so asleep, like back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, that we couldn't see it. But now that more people are waking up to it, and because of these vibrations are increasing, is that the reason why it's so obvious now? And it probably is. It is definitely, but it probably has always been this bad. Standalone mentions something very, and that's, thank you for reminding me that, Stan. Silent weapons for quiet wars. Honestly, read that. That will blow your mind, that document. Jason, he's definitely not getting no apparent cure. Well done, mate, because I'll tell you, they're absolutely destroying people's lives and have destroyed people's lives in many different ways. How we doing, Carmen? Thank you for joining us. ADBC saying Jordan is dead now. I didn't actually know that. I'm sorry to hear that, but he was. I mean, he was a fair age as well, wasn't he? He'd lived a full life, so I'm sure where he is, he's not bothered. Absolutely. Words and thoughts are not crime. Thank you, KB. That's really nice of you. Yeah, and I was reading, that's just when someone, there's a couple of comments I read there. I was reading in the last book that I read there that, like, the flower power movement, this is where they get their name from. Like, I mentioned the chakra systems, the chakra system in the body. I think there's 6, 7 main ones. Like the base or the third eye chakra, your base chakra, your throat chakra, solar plexus, and I can't remember. There's another couple, but your heart chakra is one. But apparently, what happens is when you start lining, like when you open your mind and open your heart, and you start taking on more information and basically seeking the truth, your heart chakra opens up like a flower, and it spins because it's like an energetic wheel of light. And apparently, that's where they get the name flower power from. So when we start understanding that these chakras are so important to know about, because you need to get them lined up, you need to get them open and get them spinning. I mean, I can feel it sometimes, like when I'm just sitting talking to people, like at home or whatever, or in other people's houses, and sometimes you hit a bit of form with it, and you can feel it. You can feel something's different. It just flows out. Sometimes stuff comes out, and you just don't know you don't know where it's came from. And that's what I mean. They say when you're spinning, that's what they mean, because they're spinning, they're at optimum level. And apparently, a lot of health conditions are related to the fact that when they're blocked and not spinning. So you need to, and it's only your thoughts that can change that. No medicine's going to do that. Hi Axiom, thank you very much. Thank you. Good you could join us. Hiya Jasmine. Yeah, Jess Smith made a good point there. Grey skies, grey people, grey lives, everything different from tones of bloody grey, and that's true. Like this is the thing. Like I've said it many times. We're houseplants with complicated emotions. We need a lot of tender loving care. We need sunlight and we need water, and positivity helps for plants also as it does with us. And when everything's grey, it's just, I mean, well, you look at it yourself. When it hits summer or when it first hits spring, it's a nice day. Everyone gets out and cuts their grass and puts the music on, and they don't do that in grey days because you don't feel it. It doesn't get you up. And the more they can, Bill Gates is trying to block the sun out for more than one reason, and that is definitely one of them, because it contributes to the mood of people. Snafu saying, yeah, if you know any old grandparents, go look at the photographs of the sky in loads of different areas now, and I've actually got proof of that. When I was down in Bath in 1995, we were at they have this hot air balloon thing every year, and we went to it, and we taken obviously photos of them in the blue skies. Honestly, like you would think it was abroad. It was unbelievable. Like now, you would think it was abroad. I'll need to dig them out actually, so maybe see if I can show you them. But it's unbelievable. It really is, and you just wonder how often they were doing that, like the geoengineering of the skies compared to now. It's Tech Junkie saying he was born in '68 and seasons were more distinguishable than they are now. Most frost, snow in winter, more in sun in summer. He's right. I mean, I've even noticed a difference in that. For when I was a kid, I can remember like the early 1990s. Got vivid memories of it, but you can remember the summer's been a lot warmer. Maybe not warmer, but certainly brighter, more consistent. And he's right and all. It would be absolutely freezing in the winter with snow almost guaranteed up in the central belt in Scotland. It was when I was young, almost guaranteed for freezing winters. But now it doesn't seem to be it's not as in tune. Well, because they're messing with it as well. Paranormal channel saying they're just ordinary people born like you and me, but they have money. I mean, some of them do, like some of them are, but some of them are very different to you and me. I can promise you. Thank you very much, Dancing Queen. I really appreciate that. I'll do my best. TPG Media remind me of a brilliant quote there. None are more hopelessly enslaved than those who falsely believe they are free. And that's the absolute truth. Because someone believes they are free, they don't think they need to break out of anything, which is why they have a covert control system. Don saying circle and root chakra, absolutely, that's the ones. I always forget. Like I say, it takes me ages to program things into me and to remember them. It really does. Yes, Sling the Traitors is saying negative thoughts, negative emotions. They're not good for you. And if you go and look at the work of Dr. Emoto, just type in Dr. Emoto water crystals and you'll see the distinction between love and hate in these water crystals. And honestly, that was probably a big. I used to be quite an angry person, as I've mentioned. I used to use violence as well, and it was after. It's actually, when I think about it, I've actually not used violence since 2014, which is exactly when I'd seen, or yeah, those water crystals, because I realised that anger was poisoning me, and I had to disconnect from it. And the proofs, like I say, it's in those water crystals, and anyone that's not seen that yet should go and have a look at it. Big Vern saying that for the past 3 weeks in Northern Ireland, it's been dull, dark, and raining all the time. It's been the same here, mate. I mean, we've had some all right weather behind the wind the other day there, but you can't go out. It's absolutely freezing. The wind's really, really cold. Like it would cut the balls off you, as we say up here. Reese's peanut butter, absolutely love that stuff. I eat far too. Well, I've not ate it for a wee while actually, but I love peanut butter ice cream and all. It's saying she'd love to see me on TV one day. I don't know about that. Yeah, so it's just an absolute shit show at times. It really is. But that's the thing. See, the more you can stay positive in that and keep away from the negative emotions, the better we'll all be because they can't feed into high vibratory emotions. They just can't do it. And I know it's hard. Listen, it's pretty hard. I still have my problems as well. I mean, obviously we do. We all do. It's life. Still have days where things don't go your way, but it's how you manage and how you manage the triggers of that. And I'm got to be honest. I'm really proud of myself and how I've managed to do it. I'm no in any way perfect, like, but it can be done. And once the more we disconnect from it, and the more we train ourselves to do it, the easier it becomes. It's just like anything. Um, when I first started doing my workouts, they really hurt. I mean, they still do when you up it, but eventually you train yourself and you get better at them, and it just becomes the norm. And it's the same way with any of this stuff that I've spoken about. You've just got to with anything at all. It doesn't matter what it is. You've just got to stick with it. That's 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 the secret to life. It's just sticking with it. The consistency, as I've said, that's where the magic is. If you stay consistent in your life, then the magic will happen, and that's again, I can attest to that. That's the truth. Carl Mann saying he's been walking 50 miles a week recently, and he feels really good. Well, good, and that's because walking's a superpower. It really is. It's absolutely amazing for the body. The health benefits of it, have a look at it, they're staggering, really, considering it's just a walk. But it's again, the walk on its own is good for you. But when you consistently do that week in, week out, as Carol Mann said he was doing, then absolutely amazing. Well done. Yeah, absolutely, John. I would agree with that. Avoid cluster P personalities at all costs. Yeah, so even if you're sort of, and that's what I started doing. I started walking about 4 miles every day. It was just kept doing that. It was a great way along with the fasting. It was a great way to get the weight off, so that you could start doing better workouts. And if you wish to keep on sort of just walking and doing it that way, then that'll serve you just as well. Yeah, so it's just about making different choices in our lives, and that is what we need to do. Different choices. Just because it's a brilliant saying, and I say it all the time to people: if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. See, when I heard that stuck with me. It was like, that is so bloody true. If I just keep on doing this is just the way it's going to be. So I need to start doing things differently. And even if you're sitting and if you're overweight and you're maybe eating too much junk food and you're not looking after yourself, and you say, right, well, actually, tomorrow night after my dinner, I'm going to go out a walk somewhere, I don't know, up your street or a mile somewhere and back. That's a start. That is a start. And then you can try and then focus on it the next day. Just take it one day at a time. And eventually you'll build it up, because you'll start maybe only walking a mile, and then after a couple of weeks or a month or whatever, you'll be like, oh, I actually need a little bit more, so I'm not getting the same out of it. And you just need to keep on upping it. And that is how we build mountains. I mean, I started off walking those 4 miles, and then I genuinely added, it was like 20 sit-ups. That was it. And then up to 30 when I could, up to 40, 50. It's just building little pieces, and only do what you can do. And if you start jogging and you start to get really tired and knackered, then stop and start walking again and catch your breath, and then start jogging again. You can only do what you can do. You can't do any more. Tech Junkie saying the human brain works like a computer. It's a central processing unit. Absolutely. The whole body's a computer. And I've said it many times. We need to program our own bodies, our own computers, or somebody's going to do it for you. And you look at the left. I mean, do we need any more evidence that the computers of the left is programmable, or the human body computer is programmable? Look at the left. Yep, just look at the left, and I've had a lot of ridicule from them as well, and likened it to sort of their ideology to Maoist China, which is absolutely right. The similarities are absolutely staggering, and I've said to many of them that haven't seen the similarities, that's frightening that you don't see it. It really is. And this again is just, it's just easy to stand with the crowd, isn't it? That's the problem. It's just easy to stand with the crowd. You don't need to take responsibility for anything, because the crowd does it for you. So that's where we're at with it, and we need to break from that. And tonight, I'm going to just about cutting it. Like I don't know, usually do about an hour and 20, an hour and a half, but I had to cut it short. I said it would to myself, it would need to be about an hour tonight. So anyone that does need any information or any help with anything, just give me an email. I'm just going to log on to it in a minute, because I've got a couple to reply to. I would like to thank everyone for joining me again. Honestly, I'm starting, like I said earlier, I'm starting to enjoy just sitting here talking to you like I'm sitting with friends and family in a living room. So it's quite a nice experience, and I'll keep doing it as often as I can. I do appreciate all your continued support, honestly, and I wish you all the best in whatever endeavours that you try. You'll be able to do it, and I'll see you on the next one, everyone. I'm not sure when my next video is going to be, but I'll think of something. It's a real pleasure to sit here with you. You look after yourselves, okay? Thank you very much, everyone. Take care.